Dave Hill loves hockey, full stop. The game, the jerseys, the personalities, you name it. As a kid growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, he loved hockey so much he would get sad when a football game appeared on TV, and he was always baffled as to why not all his fellow Americans shared his love of the game. Now, the comedian, radio host, writer, musician, and actor is sharing that love in all the places it has taken him in a new book. Here to talk about the awesome game, one man's incredible, globe crushing Hockey Odyssey is Dave Hill. Welcome, Dave.
Thanks for having me.
Dave, first off, what made you write this book?
Well, as you mentioned, I grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, which, it isn't the biggest hockey town, but my grandfather was from Clinton, Ontario, so my siblings and me were thrown on the ice, while still in diapers, and I grew up playing hockey, but it was a lonely childhood for a hockey fan, hockey player. There's like one or two other kids in my school who are into hockey, and you'd be on the playground and say to one of your classmates, "Oh, did you see the Rangers Flyers game last night?" And they'd be like, "Well, what are you talking about? Give me your lunch money." It was just it was rough. They didn't get my lunch money, but it was a tough thing. So, but now in my adult life, I've been lucky enough to do so many things I love as part of my career. But hockey's, I think I knew by about 12 or 13 my hockey dreams, of playing in the NHL weren't going to come true. So this book, was just an opportunity for me to do a deep dive into the sport that I love so much, and also get my publisher to pay for me to go see some amazing hockey games all over the world, and connect with players and fans, and even play hockey with people all over the world. So it was a blast.
Now, you start things off lamenting the status of hockey in the U.S. in relation to other pro sports. And I think it goes something like this: football, baseball, basketball, NASCAR, and then maybe hockey. Why do you think that is?
It's deeply disturbing. I mean, if you throw in college football and then soccer, I mean, hockey is really in the weeds. I have various theories. The obvious ones are, that in the States we don't have much naturally occurring ice, like outdoor rinks and frozen ponds and stuff. So, it's hard to just walk out your door and start playing hockey. And so, that's one part of it. And I don't know, in the last couple of days, just being in Canada this past week, I've sort of this new theory. Maybe it's some crazy anti-Canadian sentiment, because hockey was invented in the US. I know this is really crazy stuff. I mean, I scare myself when I say it out loud, but sometimes I wonder if maybe Americans are just afraid because hockey was invented in Canada. They're just afraid to embrace it. I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna have to write a second book to discuss that because I neglected to really get into that in the awesome game. But I don't know. I'm trying to change it. I mean, obviously hockey's growing in the United States, but I think it should be the number one sport. It's the best sport. It's the funnest to play. It's the funnest to watch. And yeah, hopefully, if I can convert one heart at a time and 11 hockey with this book, my work will be done.
I like the memoir aspect of the book where you talk about that brief shining moment in 1980 when Team USA bested the USSR in the Miracle on Ice at the Lake Placid Winter Games. What was that energy like in the States in relation to interest in the game of hockey?
It was amazing. I mean, as people are wont to say today, I felt seen at the, you know, uh, it was there was a couple weeks there where all my classmates were into hockey. It was sort of like a couple years back when the United States beat Canada at curling, and for a solid 3 or 4 hours in America, all anyone could talk about was curling, and then it sort of dipped off. But in 1980, all the kids were really into hockey, and I was like, this is the world that I want to live in. And then it kind of, I mean, it was, that was pretty that Olympics kind of went beyond hockey because it was kind of like the Cold War on ice. So, there's people were pretty excited about it, but it didn't it didn't stick, A few weeks later everyone's talking about football again, and I was a sad little boy.
That little boy. You mentioned earlier that you got into hockey relatively late in life. I believe not trying on your first skates until age 11. Do you have any
Well,
regrets
I
about?
had skated from about 3, but
Okay.
yeah, 11, yeah, by hockey standards, I felt like a geriatric. Yeah, not playing. I didn't play organized hockey till 11, which very concerning.
Do you have any regrets about the hockey career you didn't have?
Um, yeah. I mean, it would have been amazing, but I think just genetics. I mean, my not making the NHL was probably, determined centuries ago in Europe when my ancestors started mating. I don't know. There was probably just some clumsy, unathletic, great, great grandfather who it was over, years long before I was born. But, I'm sort of living out my hockey dreams a bit now, uh, you know, being able to have at least a bit more access. I still haven't made it really that far. The NHL has not let me drive the Zamboni between periods. I have a list of goals that I'm still. I should say it now. Actually, my dream now is I want to play the national anthem, Canadian or American, on guitar before an NHL game. So putting that out there, and if anyone out there listening can help.
Now, any team, your beloved Rangers, doesn't matter.
I mean, that would be the easiest for me because it's one subway stop away. I could actually walk to Madison Square Garden from my apartment. So that would be the number one. But I mean, I would be thrilled. Winnipeg, amazing. Uh, really anywhere. I mean, probably, yeah. I don't want to say which would be my last choice because then I'm shooting myself in the skate.
Hmm.
But but yeah, anywhere. I mean, I would even, I did a post on Instagram about it last week, and it's people have been suggesting maybe that I could do like a OHL or WHL, and I'm like, yeah, I'll fine. Let's start there.
Now, you're also the proud owner of 40 or so hockey jerseys, and you offer some pretty hot takes on the sweaters of virtually every team active in the NHL today. So, first question on this: what, in your view, makes a good hockey sweater?
Well, I think the main thing, and this is where most NHL teams fail, because I think they're obviously the NHL jerseys are trying to have broad appeal, so grandmothers and small children can wear them. But I think if there's not blood or fire or like at least like a real irritated looking animal on your jersey, like what are you doing? I mean, there's some strong jerseys out there, but I mean, as an example of like a failure, Seattle Kraken, the colors are cool, but it's like this S with like scales on it. Like I want to see the Kraken just whipping a sailor just around all, just strangling with its tentacles and stuff. That's I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking over there in Seattle.
May
I
not
mean,
be
I'll go.
family friendly in image, though.
I don't think we can worry about families. Do you want to win hockey games or not? That's the question.
So, intimidation then is key.
I think it's really important. I mean, like Calgary has a good jersey because it's just a sea and it's on fire. Straight to the point. There's fire. That's a good jersey.
Well, that's my next question. We know what you don't like. So, who is killing it in terms of hockey sweaters these days?
I mean, the greatest jersey of all time, NHL is the Nordiques jersey. I think is the coolest one ever. it's not necessarily violent, but there's an igloo playing hockey, which I think is physically impossible, but it's also kind of a mind game that played on the to confuse the opponent, I believe. But the best jerseys today, my favorite in is I love Sudbury Wolves jersey OHL. It's a deranged looking wolf that looks like it was drawn by a 15-year-old, like hopped up on Mountain Dew in the back of history class or something. And it's got blood on the teeth, and there's even like a droplet of blood like flying across the jersey. I mean that jersey really ticks all the boxes for me. And then I really like the Tampere Ilves in Finland. Ilves is lynx in Finnish, and there's this crazed lynx that looks like it was drawn not even by a 15-year-old, but maybe by an 8-year-old. And I say both. You know, I say this is high praise. I'm not saying these are bad logos. They're just insane, which I really like. So yeah, those are probably, and then Kenya Ice Lions, which they're the one team in all of Kenya, and I went and played with them. They have just a badass jersey. It's a gold lion with a crown, and he's got a hockey stick. I mean, I don't want to go up against that guy. And you know, it has the colors of the Kenyan flag. That's a pretty sweet jersey. And I have all three. I have all three. I have the Ice Lions one I have right here.
Oh wow.
I never leave home without one of those four jerseys. I just as a look at that guy. Oh, he doesn't have, maybe he doesn't have a crown. I imagine, I think they have a version with the crown, but yeah. Uh those are the big four: Nordiques, Sudbury Wolves, Tampere Ilves, and Kenya Ice Lions, I think. But I do like the classic NHL, you know, the original six jerseys. I think the original Winnipeg Jets jersey, you know, before the Jets Mach 2. That jersey is completely badass. I don't know why they're not using it. I think the current logo, and I'm I shouldn't say this, but I think the current logo for the Jets, it looks like a logo for the airport or something. It's very nice. It's a great design, but it's not. I'm not scared. I want to be a little scared.
Now, you also talk about your particular affection for the Flying V sweater the Canucks wore in the late 70s and early 80s. So, as this is for a Vancouver audience, I wanted to know what do you like so much about it?
I mean, the well, Vancouver. Let me say, and I'm not pandering here. I think Vancouver has always had amazing jerseys. The current jerseys are great, but the Flying V jersey, which I'll just crazy people have suggested that the Flying V Canucks jersey is the worst hockey jersey of all time. And I'll give out my address and fight any of those people because I mean that you know, even though I just told you my four favorite jerseys, that is, let's add that as tie for five favorite jerseys because that jersey's, I mean, it's like one part Star Trek and like it looks weirdly German to me. I mean, just the colors and it's scary. It's like black and there's the V and you're just like just the temerity for lack, I don't want to, you know, use harsh language, but uh they just come out on the ice and they have a jersey that doesn't even have their name on it. That's confidence. You're just like, yeah, what, you know who we are, we've come here to beat you. That's I They should bring it back, I think.
There's a lot of people in this town who share that belief with you.
I
Um,
have that jersey and I have a t-shirt with a t-shirt version of it that I got at the Canucks home opener a few years ago.
one of those numbered jerseys with the name on the back, so like a star.
Yeah, I think it has Smeal on it. Am I
Yep,
getting that right? I
yep.
think that's the one I have. But yeah, I mean, and then the current one with the orca. I do think that they should add blood to the teeth of the, you know, just a minor adjustment. And I like the you know the one with the hockey stick,
The stick in
the
the
sort, yeah. And great colors. I mean, I like the old colors, but the new colors are cool too. So And one, you know, again, not pandering, but one of my favorite NHL teams. It's a team I always, as a lover of the game, I kind of have a handful of teams that I'm pulling for in my heart, and Vancouver's one of them for sure.
All right. Now, one of my favorite stories in the book is the time you stood on Brian Trottier's front lawn. How did that happen?
Yeah, my cousins were grew up on Long Island, and during the '80s, you know, in the peak Islanders era, you know, the Stanley Cup dynasty, Brian Trottier moved down the street, like literally, you know, a few houses away. And so I went to visit them one summer, and I was just like, "Can we? I have to go meet Brian. You know, let's go meet Brian Trottier." And six cousins, five of them were like, "Not our problem, Dave." But one, my cousin Molly, who I think was just young enough to agree to it, she's like, "I'll take you to his house." So we went down there and just stood on his front lawn like some Saturday afternoon and just waited for him to come out. And he finally came out and was really nice, and it was amazing. And you know, I was pretty much like uh, Chris Farley talking to Paul McCartney then, and then I interviewed him again for the book all these years later, and I was just as freaked out as I was standing on his front lawn. You know, however many, you know, 30 or more years later.
Very humble guy. I interviewed him too, and I asked him about the third Stanley Cup the Islanders won against the Canucks in 1982, and he was very gracious about it. He said he hated beating his friend Tiger Williams, but that team
Oh
was
wow.
unstoppable. They could,
Yeah, Tiger Williams, they grew up playing like juniors together.
yeah. Now,
Pretty
besides
amazing.
besides being a memoir about your hockey playing youth and a clearinghouse for your Jersey hot takes, as we discussed, the awesome game also a travelogue of some of the weird and wonderful places the game is played, enjoyed, celebrated, be it Poland, Kenya, Finland, or Gatineau and Peterborough. Which of these trips affected you the most?
Whew, I mean, you know, probably Kenya and Poland were, you know, Poland just the impact of, I mean, just the insanity of Polish hockey fans was, I've never seen their level of enthusiasm. I've never seen for anything on earth. Like it was, they are like marching through the streets from about noon on game day, just like walking around, chanting, freaking out. And you know, I went to the game by myself, and as I approached the arena, and this is in Katowice, Poland, like the fans are just kind of turning, and like I was like, they were looking at me like they were sizing me up, like whether they were just gonna kick my ass, like, you know, before the game even started. And I hung out with some of the players a couple nights later, and I told them about this feeling I had. I was like, I think the fans wanted to fight me, and they're like, yeah, they were sizing you up and deciding whether you should live or not. Unfortunately, they spared me. I went inside, and yeah, just the level of, I mean, it's enthusiasm bordering on violence, and I'm told it spills over into violence quite often. But they're just chanting and going nuts, like even in between periods, like when I'm like waiting in line to use the bathroom or whatever. Like you can hear them in the stands, just like you would think it was the last 30 seconds of the third period in the Stanley Cup final, like how they're just freaking out. So that was amazing. And then going to Kenya, you know, to the last place you would think that there would be hockey fans and just bonding over hockey with these guys. It was amazing, you know, from such different backgrounds, and but still like freaking out, like watching videos together of awesome, you know, NHL goals on Instagram and things like that. And it was really cool, and to just see like, you know, a little kid just so psyched about hockey, and you know, as I was when I was his age, that was really cool.
What do you hope people get out of the book?
Well, I I've written it for hockey fans, but I've also written it for people that maybe aren't into hockey or aren't into sports at all, and hopefully they'll at least have an enjoyable read, and best case scenario they'll be like, I think I'm going to check out a hockey game, because I mean a big thing is, as much as I love hockey, I'm not really into sports. Like I'm into, I just like other sports. If you were to hook me up to like a heart monitor and make me watch the Super Bowl or NBA finals or whatever, it would just be steady, no reaction. But so I want people that maybe aren't into sports to go. I'm just here to tell them there is one awesome sport, and you can get into that. Ignore the others. Ignore the others. But hockey is really, and there's so many amazing things about it. But if I can get just one person to be like, I'm gonna go to my local hockey game and see what it's all about, I think my work will be done.
One person, one book at a time. The name of the book,
Yep.
The Awesome Game, One Man's Incredible Globe-Crushing Hockey Odyssey. It's available from Doubleday Canada. My thanks to author Dave Hill.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.